there's a few more angles that we could like fucking look at Mr. Beast. But I think that it would be kind of stupid to do like any more deep diving, because the majority of as I said, the majority of the criticism and like hate toward Mr. Beast is either, ew, he's weird, seems like a bad person, kind of sus, creeps me out, something's wrong here, he's too nice and it's weirding me out, or he is clearly like super focused on money and he kind of uses the philanthropy as a brand advantage, and he's actually like super hyper focused on like maximizing everything, and he's a little bit of like a weirdo in the way that he like promotes, eating chocolate and eating burgers to kids. So basically, again, like more like valid critiques and more like just vibes, right? Negative vibes toward Mr. Beast. And I think that the thing that actually kind of the main thing that people get weirded out by Mr. Beast for is the perception of power, okay? Mr. Beast, the way that he carries and presents himself is a modern, very modern representation of like a powerful influencer, right? And that's most overt when he's like curing 10,000 blind people, right? Or whatever it was, curing 1,000 blind. I think it was 10,000. Or like when he says like giving 20,000 African kids shoes, or like his videos where like he isolates a guy for 30 days or something, making this guy be in isolation for 30 days, but he gets $1 million. You know what I mean? It is absolutely, it's like a power kind of phobia, right? Because Mr. Beast does have a very, very real will to power. It's obvious. That's not even like a fucking controversial statement to make. This guy is hungry and he is more than willing to grab at what he wants. Yeah, he's not like Hamza, who got too much of what he wants and now wants to enjoy striving towards something. Mr. Beast is still grabbing at things, okay? He's not like a fucking glutton like Hamza, who just got too much of what he wanted and he was like, okay, let me create this fucking fantasy, whatever. Mr. Beast has fantasies. I don't know why I'm making it seem like he doesn't. I don't know. But maybe it's that Mr. Beast's fantasies are just larger than Hamza's, so he can continue fucking reaching toward them. But yeah, no, it's like people get scared when you are presenting your power levels, right, in a super overt way, okay? So someone like, who would you say? Let's just think of another YouTuber who's similar. So someone like PewDiePie, right? PewDiePie, when you think about it, this fucking guy straight up never really scaled up his YouTube operation. There was a point when he like bought an office or whatever, he rented an office and he got like 3 employees to work with him, and then he said the M word and then the office stopped, and he basically scaled back down, and then it was just him again in his apartment, and he would he had like 2 editors or 3 editors, right? PewDiePie never scaled up. That was a big thing that people said they loved about PewDiePie, is that he always stayed humble, right? Because he never like bought fancy shit, which is just cope. It's bullshit. PewDiePie bought fancy shit. He just didn't buy the conventional like braggadocious, like here's a Ferrari, here's $1 million. You know what I mean? PewDiePie didn't flaunt his wealth. He still has, an expensive, he still had a bit of an expensive like taste. Like I remember he had a video where PewDiePie was basically showing off his clothing, which was nice clothing, but it wasn't crazy expensive clothing, right? Mr. Beast is kind of the opposite. Not that he cares about having expensive stuff. Mr. Beast doesn't care about having expensive stuff. He just knows that flexing or like having a spectacle of expensive stuff, or like showing that you have the power to fucking improve people's lives, he just knows that that is a good spectacle to attract people toward his content, okay? He's more of a realist. He's not like, again, he's not showing off like giving Teslas away just because he just loves, he's not showing off Teslas and shit like that just because he loves the idea of like, oh, I have a fucking nice car. No, he does it because he knows it's like a status signifier. It's like, this is something that people, will want to see happen, right? It's a a lot more about the kind of like, I guess, power, but also like the attention that it'll bring to him. And so PewDiePie had a very high level of power. He was influencing millions and millions of fucking kids, right? And there was moments where he was heavily critiqued, right? For like, obviously he said the N-word, but even when he was making kind of edgy jokes, right? And like kind of dressed as a Nazi one time, whatever. A lot of journalists were shitting on him heavily, even when he was fighting with T-Series. You know, people were like slamming him for kind of like anti-Indian sentiment or whatever. And look, not that none of that matters or whatever, but it's like PewDiePie was a lot better at hiding his power levels through his content. Whereas Mr. Beast, his content requires him to show his power levels because it's a lot less about his personality. That's just the truth. Okay, and Mr. Beast knows that. Like Mr. Beast is not coping when he admits, like, you know, that he's not the center of the fucking show, really. You know what I mean? It's more so about him, his friends being funny, the people, you know, obviously being given the money. Like, if you had a Mr. Beast video that was just Mr. Beast, wouldn't do quite as well, right? I'd imagine. Anyway, I might be talking a little bit on my ass saying that because I'm sure he could do a video that's just him. It would just still have to be interesting. But yeah, they're not really they wouldn't be tuning in for his personality. They would be tuning in for what he's doing to himself, which was how Mr. Beast built his brand, right? He would say Logan Paul 100,000 times. He would basically like torture himself, be buried alive for 3 days or something. Yeah, it was never really about him. Does that make sense? It was about what he was doing. And so yeah, people are scared of power, especially when you make it obvious. They get skeptical. They spread rumors. They get weirded out. They get scared. So it's pretty natural, I would say, that and expected that when Mr. Beast goes around on a bunch of podcasts talking about how he has a list for his fucking girlfriend, talking about how he doesn't know if he wants to, you know, program a kid to be like himself for 18 years, if he he's claiming that fucking Marvel as a brand is like not good to put on chocolate bars. Basically, when he goes onto podcasts and like kind of projects that he has a high power level, it makes sense that people look at that and they're like, weird, sus, fuck you. You know what I mean? So yeah, I guess that was a little bit of a fucking rant. Let me talk to you guys for a bit. Let me see what you guys are saying. Real fucking quick. Give me one moment. What are you little fellas saying? The craziest thing to me is people defending these YouTubers that literally don't give two shits about them. The ones who are the best at making you think you're their friend are worst. Yeah. I hate those guys. Goka should watch a PewDiePie book review, easily Felix's best videos. Kate, I've seen those. I'm an actual unironic, like, I was a PewDiePie fan growing up, okay? This is not cap, okay? That's true. There are certainly critiques I could make of PewDiePie because that whole thing where I was saying, like, PewDiePie hid his power levels well, okay? He knows how to present himself to the public and hide his fucking actual power levels. They've seeped through at some points, and obviously, you know, he kind of caught a lot of shit with a little bit of his flirting with the alt-right, a little bit, and the edgy humor, which I view as disconnected, but they were technically related. But in terms of his power level, in terms of his influence, his money, whatever, bro, I've said this multiple times, but like, PewDiePie is not known for his wealth. Mr. Beast is known for his wealth, okay? But PewDiePie, just because he's not known for his wealth, just because he doesn't portray that power that he has, that financial power, doesn't mean he doesn't have it, okay? But I would genuinely like forecast with, I feel like this isn't controversial. PewDiePie is worth well over like 100 million, whatever, okay? PewDiePie, look, I just don't think that you're the number one YouTuber for like 8 years. and you're not worth an exorbitant fucking amount of money. It's just, yeah, people I think underestimate it because he is good at concealing his power level. Or they just don't care, right? Because he doesn't make it a part of his brand, which is fair enough. Just got done peeing. Great job, Pyro Chat. I'm really glad that you didn't splash on the toilet seat this time. He's told me to fuck off at least 3 times. Chris would never lie about liking you. Only if I had something to gain from it. 100 mil is a bit of a stretch. The Gazelle, you're the reason. You're the people that I swear are totally wrong. I swear, bro. Okay. I'm not trying to pocket watch, okay? Take this for what it is, which is just a fucking idiot saying shit. I would sincerely project that PewDiePie is worth 200 to 300 million, okay? That's not an indictment, okay? That's not me shitting on him. Don't take it that way. If you interpret it that way, then maybe you have a problem with people having that much money. I wouldn't even say you're invalid for thinking that, but, you know, it might be a reflection on you what you think of that. But if you want me to try to break it down, again, 8 years being the #1 person on YouTube. Every fucking video that you make, almost, is like sponsored, right? That might be cap. Early PewDiePie wasn't sponsored as much, but nowadays, yeah, most videos are sponsored, right? Not all, but most. There was a point when PewDiePie was uploading like 3 times a day, 4 times a day. Each video was getting millions of views when AdSense was at its fucking prime. He again had multiple video games that were released, right, while he was again in his prime. So multiple mobile video games. He basically was like the foundation of a mobile games company. He had multiple book tours, multiple fucking partnerships with G Fuel, right? Like a big partnership with G Fuel, by the way. That was when he was really at his peak. As well as obviously his merch. His merch, super fucking popular. Yeah, and he's never been shy about plugging any of that shit. What else is there to say? Yeah, and there was a point where Scare PewDiePie, true. Yeah, when he was one of the most popular, YouTube paid him to do a series called Scare PewDiePie, and then they paid him to do a series called Scare PewDiePie 2, which they never released because he's some, Nazi bullshit. But I'm just trying to paint a picture that it's like people underestimate massively how high you can go when you're at the top, right? Like, again, keep in mind, we're talking about the top of YouTube. Mr. Beast uploads, what, once a month, once every 2 months nowadays? Let's take a look. Let's take a little look-see, ladies and gentlemen. So when you think of Mr. Beast, how much do you think he's worth? Fuck. How much do you guys think Mr. Beast is worth? Put it in the chat, okay? I know him personally, so I know the answer. He's my best friend. I abducted 39 children and brought them into the plains of Africa so that they could starve to death. Sorry. I didn't do that. Okay, so look. Mr. Beast, Mr. Breast. Okay, so we got about roughly 1 video a month, okay? We're just going to keep it at roughly 1 video a month. And every video, yes, it gets over 100 million views. Massive. That's crazy. Absolutely impressive beyond belief. But PewDiePie, at a point, was uploading every single day, at least once, sometimes twice, and getting like 3 to 4 million views. So Mr. Beast uploads once a month, gets 120 million. PewDiePie uploads 30 times a month, but each has 3 to 4 million views. Pretty fucking similar. But guess what the fucking kicker is? PewDiePie has a tiny little operation, bro. PewDiePie had like 2 fucking editors. Of course. I would be naive if I were to say like PewDiePie only had 2 editors. Look, that's actually kind of cap because PewDiePie, In terms of video production, yeah, he only had like 2-3 editors, whatever. But I'm sure he had like managers. I'm sure he had people running his clothing company, running his fucking games company. There's a lot of shit in the periphery. But in terms of actually producing the videos, PewDiePie only had a small crew, right? So much more of that AdSense, so much more of that sponsorship money is going directly into PewDiePie's bank account. Whereas fucking Mr. Beast, the majority of the time, his videos, the entire budget, the entire fucking earnings that he's going to get from that video, all the sponsorship money is being drained into the video, or is going to get drained into the next video. You know what I mean? He's aggressive with growth, whereas PewDiePie, he was kind of, his videos just weren't high budget most of the time, right? So like when you project to yourself, you're like, damn, Mr. Beast must already be worth like 300, 400 million. Doubtful, in my opinion. I would guess, like, that's the thing. Mr. Beast on paper, you could say, yeah, he's got like a crazy net worth, right? Because like Mr. Beast as a brand is worth so much. But in terms of liquid cash, I would doubt that he's worth like over 30 million. That might be cap. But in terms of like in the bank, let me hit him up. Let's message Mr. Beast right now. Yo, bro, how much do you have liquid in the bank right now? Juice, straight powder. Okay, I don't want to leak our DMs real quick. Just 1 sec. Yo, brother, how much juice you got in the chamber? Straight powder. Okay, we'll see if he responds. Yeah, I mean, what I'm saying makes sense to you, right? Like, Mr. Beast absolutely has the potential to be worth billions. I agree. But, like, Elon Musk isn't worth $5 billion in cash in his bank account, okay? That's all tied up to his businesses, which is still real wealth. That's fucked. I'm not saying he's not rich, but it's different because PewDiePie, he has a video where he basically said, like, where does he put his money into? And of course, PewDiePie videos just get buried because he uploads so much, so it'll be hard to find. But he basically says that he puts the vast majority of his money into real estate. Okay, so PewDiePie making all this fucking money over these years, just funneling it into real estate. Real estate fucking market, how's it been performing since COVID? Amazingly well, right? Does it make sense? Do you get what I'm saying? I think in terms of real wealth, PewDiePie is well richer than Mr. Beast. When I say real wealth, I mean like liquid. Like if PewDiePie were to sell all of his assets right now, how much would he be worth versus Mr. Beast? Anyway, that's the end of my fucking little analysis, all right? My pocket watching, okay? I don't know why I was inspired to go on that rant. I feel fucking weird anytime I'm like projecting shit that I actually don't technically know, but it's all hypothetical. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about. What can I say? The main point to take away, though, is that a big part of why Mr. Beast is hated is because he makes his fucking power level, his economic, ability, much more forward-facing, much more obvious, right? And he kind of positions himself as like a kind of a almighty benefactor a little bit. He kind of does lean into it a little bit. Whereas PewDiePie, while he also does a lot of charity work, he keeps it a little bit more subtle, right? It's not the spectacle. He doesn't bring people to a video to talk about his charities. He just subtly talks about his charities at the end of videos. He doesn't flaunt his wealth, which he still is wealthy, but he doesn't flaunt it. And he's just, over the years, it's always been said that he is very humble, which doesn't mean that he doesn't have things to brag about. He just keeps them hidden better, right? There you go.